Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think with that we should be live. Greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, and this is the first time, yet again, I'm coming back from a bit of a break of doing Tinto talks. I keep doing this. It's getting harder to keep pace with all the way they've changed lately, the way that they are releasing them. It used to be so consistent on one day they do this, that day they do that, and now it's all jumbled up, and it's hard for me to keep pace with both that and my work. Dreadful stuff, I tell you. But in any case, we're here today because I saw that they're doing some feedback changes, and it's been a while since I've looked at one of those, and I thought that even more important than it is to talk about things like flavor for certain countries, I really wanted to see this and discuss it because this is a fundamental changes to the game often as not, and usually these are very interesting. So this one was released on Wednesday, so it's already been a bit, and I apologize for that. But better late than never. Most of y'all end up just watching the VOD more so than being live, so I don't suppose y'all mind too much. But today is the anniversary, or Wednesday was the anniversary because it is the anniversary of EU4 and Victoria's birthday. How adorable. 12th for EU4 and 15th for Vic 2. Kind of crazy to imagine that those games came out so close to each other. Meanwhile, EU5, how long ago did Victoria 3 come out before EU5 has even got a release date? They're really taking their time in the kitchen with this one. So, apparently the first thing that they're talking about, yes, they're saying we'll focus on some of the changes that can be shown in a Tinto talk. Not all the changes that they've made can be shown, that makes sense. But, here they're going to be showing, first off, apparently, advances in forming countries, because I'm not sure exactly what they feel the need to change about that, but I'm curious. I trust their judgment. They've made almost exclusively W's when it comes to changing things due to feedback so far. So, advances and forming countries. One of the ways people enjoyed EU4 was forming new countries and getting new sets of national ideas. Yeah, that's true. Evening to you as well, George. Yeah, for me it's afternoon. But this is the start of my pretty rapid fire schedule for the rest of the day. That being cover this, then I'm going to go hang out with some pals, and then I need to figure out a way to get myself to work on the other side of town, even though I don't drive. At 1 a.m. It's going to be quite the pain, but yeah, I'll make it work. But, country-specific advances were locked to currently being a tag. I did not know that. I misunderstood, I think, because see, locked to being a specific tag. Country-specific advances were locked to currently being a tag. See, I misunderstood it because I thought that the way they described it was... Oh. No, yeah. The way I thought that it worked was... whenever you enter a new age, it takes your religion, culture, the region you're in, and the tag you are in some cases, and then it would unlock for you to research in that age the unique advances for that tag. But I guess here they're saying that in the specific example of tag in the example of tag specific advances, the way it worked was that you'd lose them if you swap off of the tag, which would be woo, that's whack. And like you'd lose the old ones, then get the new ones, something like that. I don't know. It's a little confusing, but the point, a unified. Oh, maybe they mean that you lose your old ones and now can then research the ones for the current tag you are? I'm not quite certain I understand. Because there's a limit to this. Yeah, they're just saying that you can't. Yeah, but you there's a limit to it because Okay, no, they are saying then that you can stack them, so you don't lose the old ones. The change they've made is you get both. Yeah, yeah, okay, so you can stack them. The point is that it used to be that you would lose the old ones and have to research the new ones. Um, but now it's a case, yeah, you're old and new ones for all ages, so you don't lose out on anything. It keeps track of what tag you used to be, and it keeps all of those old ones and the new ones in the tech tree specifically for your tag. Not but the culture and religion stuff is all separate still. I kind of like that. That's an interesting idea because it raises the point of like, oh, maybe in this case you get some extra motivation to start as a smaller country, because if you start as a tier 1 tag, then that means that you'll have more options for tags to form and unlock bonuses as a result. At least that seems to be the idea to me. Because this unified Scandinavia one is also see, that's a innovation advance. Yeah, advance. It's an advance from the first age of the game, which means that you would, because it's rare that anyone's going to be. I say rare. It's impossible. No, okay, I can't say impossible. I'm sure it's going to be extraordinarily uncommon that someone unites Scandinavia in the first 10 years of the game before the Renaissance starts. But the point is, once you've done that, you can retroactively go back and research stuff from previous ages. Yeah. Hope Revolter tags also inherit it? Yes, that would be weird, because, yeah, weird if the USA or Welsh Revolter doesn't get the Great Britain stuff. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I would definitely like, that would be, because that would be interesting for you to be able to, in the case of, yeah, like, the Welsh revolt from Great Britain, I would like the Welsh that revolt from Great Britain to be able to yoink British bonuses with them, and then also have access to all of the Welsh themed stuff as well. That seems very neat. Good morning, good morning, afternoon, evening to you as well, Matt Fair. Yes, it is afternoon for me, though it still somewhat feels like morning because my schedule has been very wonky. I start work at 1 a.m., so it's very strange. Uh, Doubt that. Imagine the modifier stacking. Hmm, that's a fair point. The modifier stacking could be quite extreme per revolter tags as a result. Hmm. I mean, not necessarily, actually. If it was, you can no longer reform into tags at the same level. The Byzantines can't reform Rome anymore. The Byzantines surely can reform Rome. No way. There's no way the Byzantines are the same tier as Rome. Huh. But the point, so what I figure, because Matt, for what they're saying here is that you can, as a so as a lower tiered country, like you're a rank 1, like a tiered country, tier formable. You're something like Lubeck. I don't know. You're Frankfurt. I don't know. And you form a tier 2 country, you would get both the just generic German minors advances and such, and then or if there is anything associated with Frankfurt, you'd get those, and then also get the tier 2 stuff, and then you keep going as you unlock higher ranked countries. You'd get all of the stacking, bonuses from the previous countries that you were. So the point being, with a revolter country, theoretically, it would be neat if when they revolt from someone, they would get to keep the advances from specifically just the country they revolted from. But Eu5, yeah, yes, hello Rasak, good to see you too. Good to see you too. Byzantines are Rome, so why would they reform Rome? Exactly, Madford. That's a very good point. Very good point. But yeah, I imagine they would just change their name to Rome at that point. That's a fair point if they restore the West. Um, so the thing that comes to mind for me when it comes to the whole imagining the modifier stacking of layering on multiple ideas from different countries. I say ideas because, it's what they're replacing. The important thing to remember is that they've explicitly stated that you will never be able to research every advance in the game. So countries that don't have that many unique advances will still have stuff to be researching. And if you have advances you've unlocked because of your tag, culture, faith, any of that sort of thing, you need to take time to research them away from something else. And there may often be times where you just don't want to research the unique stuff you have available. I mean, this unified Scandinavia one with 25% more crown power is quite excellent. So I will definitely be grabbing that retroactively, but yeah. Uh, going to, you're going to form 2-3 tags in most campaigns. You aren't getting a ton of modifiers. If you revolt and decide to a different country, yeah. I think locking it with the nation ranks have limited any stacking. Yeah, there's only so many you can do at that point. There's only so much stacking you can do. There's quite a few. Like, you can go from a tier 1 country up to, what, 5? So, but like a tier 5, if you're forming a tier 5 country, those are the end game anyway. That's like Europe, isn't it? I don't remember. Yeah, exactly. You're not supposed to get all of them. You're supposed to choose. Or keep forming different tags, but you can't just keep forming different ones because you unlike EU4, there's a EU4's got the concept of end game tags, so you can't form something different as a certain country. But in EU5, they have specifically tier ranks, so you can't stay in the same rank or go down. You can only go up when you form something. Yeah, they're explaining here how Scandinavia is a tier 3 tag. Um, so you could form the Eastern Roman Empire, which is a tier 4 tag, um, as Scandinavia technically, because it's a jump up of a tier, but it would be incredibly difficult. So if you're playing Scandinavia, I can't imagine what tier 4 country you would even form. So in the case of like Sweden, you're starting as a tier 2 country, I imagine, is what Sweden would be. And you have a tier 3 that you can form into, but there's no other option after that. What are you going to do? Form Russia? Exactly, but you want Wales to get Great Britain's modifiers if they revolt. Imagine if they decide to form France instead. They get both Great Britain and France's modifiers. Um, I guess technically, if okay, in the very niche situation, Matt, for where someone revolts, where there's a revolting Welsh tag, that then revolts from Great Britain, so they get Great Britain's, they can research Great Britain's techs. They then somehow manage to form France. Um, that would, yeah, technically be incredibly powerful. But I mean, I don't know how that would even be possible. At that point, just let them have it. Germany, you feel like if you can form France as Wales, you just say, yeah, yeah. Germany, autocorrect maybe. Well, I imagine France is a tier 3 like Great Britain, yeah, probably. And yeah, Wales, I imagine could yeah, swap to them as well. Um, I just as well. The thing is, I keep what I keep saying, and I want to move on in a second, but I just don't think that it's going to be much of an issue with like people forming tags and then getting the bonuses from them because as I've been pointing out, there's always more text to be researching other than the unique ones. So unless the unique ones are just actually insane, I don't know if it's going to actually be a problem. All right. Um, subjects. You need to manage your subjects' loyalty more carefully, as they might not fight wars with you if they're disloyal enough, and actually make a separate peace with your enemies. Oh, so on the initial YouTuber builds, I guess their subjects would still fight with you no matter how disloyal they were, and couldn't. But here they're saying they can separate peace. Separate piecing vassals sounds awesome. That is 100% the England grind set when you're trying to piece out French vassals. Comes down to balancing though. There are going to be some meta combinations. Well, yeah, there will be some meta combinations, but there always will be something. I don't know. Um, Disloyal vassals can nope out of the war. Yeah, sounds kind of fun. I kind of I kind of think that'll make it interesting for, well, vassals are going to be incredibly powerful in this. So this, and I am a big Diplo player. I enjoy the Diplo gameplay a lot. So I like this idea that vassals are going to be more difficult to manage, because I want it to be a case where vassals are very important. However, unless you're focusing Diplo, it'll be much harder to handle a bunch of vassals effectively. So I want it to be a case of like, I genuinely need to consider, do I want the extra bonuses to diplomacy to help me uh, handle these vassals ruling over the farther reaches of my realm. Whereas, because like right now, whenever you look back at YouTube videos, I'm saying this now, it's pretty 50-50. I'd say it looks like it's about 50-50 on whether people are picking admin or Diplo as their focus for the first age, which is hilarious to me, because I I was the one, so in the Discord, I was championing Diplo. I was like, oh, Diplo looks great to me. Everyone else in Discord was saying, nah, it's going to be the military one. Everyone's going to want the military one. And then we were both wrong, because admin's the one that people pick the most, with Diplo coming in second. Enjoy the idea of making vassals a little more than just future land. Yeah, I especially, yeah, but so both EU5 and Vicky, I feel like in Vicky I really like having vassals, especially. So yeah, even more just like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it feels in EU4, EU5 rather, where you need to, manage that land more effectively, and it becomes similar to how, because I'm bringing up Victoria, which I've been playing a lot more lately, as some will know. In Victoria, it's really not always the best idea to own land in like overseas territories. Um, like if you're conquering Africa, it's not necessarily the best to keep it under your own rule, because the pops will be very unhappy, and they'll be very unhappy. They'll be radical. They won't work effectively in your territory. That sort of thing. So and you basically can't assimilate people in that. EU5 is going to be kind of the middle ground, where it's going to be similar in some ways, where you'll have these unhappy pops, but you don't need to worry about the whole, oh, they're unhappy so they can't work. It's instead a case of, oh, they're really unhappy so they're constantly revolting. uh, Lambert said in his podcast that vassals are good, but that you really get limited Diplo capacity. I really need to talk to Lambert more about EU5, because I've been playing EU4 with him and just chatting with him in Discord. I gotta get his thoughts more on the game. Because he's a fun guy to talk to, and we get along surprisingly well. Really hope we get a governor system for EU5, with them either acting as really integrated vassals. So the closest thing to that, I think, George, is like fiefdoms. We've seen that there's this fiefdom type of vassal, which is like basically the just an extension of the crown. It very much seems like that's the vibe of what they do.
I don't remember. I'd need to go look at the different vassal types again. But yeah, I think there's going to be some good choices for different reasons that you'll pick for what you want your vassals to do. But you can also instruct loyal vassals on how to make them behave during your wars when they're actually loyal enough to help. So yeah, that's good. That's another feature that's in EU4 that they're bringing back. Thank goodness. Yeah. Um. Oh, the thing as well, George. In regards to the integrated vassals, have you if you haven't seen, there's an option that there's like an option that some people will have turned on and others won't that will cause vassals to be colored in your color and have your name go over them. So one thing that I'd like from that setting, I think I'd like, depending on like what types of subjects there are, if it would make only certain types of vassals get covered in that way. So you wouldn't get like colonial nations colored in that way, but like only like the closer integrated vassal types. Confirmed in the Indian comments that they want to add them eventually, but they're not going to have governors on launch because they aren't entirely sure how they should work. So, yeah, they mentioned like the Timurids. The Timurids have a unique type of vassal that's kind of governory-ish. Also, this is just EU4 DLC features, but it's good that they're added. Yeah, yeah. This specifically, okay, the vassal's separate piecing is not an EU4 thing. That's really cool. The only thing, because like the closest thing to that that it reminds me of in EU4 is Ayalids, because Ayalids in EU4 can they join wars for different reasons and can be separate pieced. Those are some ideas in the subreddit too and forum about visualizing subject relations on the main map. Okay, well, it's good that tributaries aren't colored. Yeah, I think that because I think that most types should be, but I had the feeling like, well, what if there's some not very integrated vassal type? And yeah, tributaries fit the bill for that. Yeah, the separate piece thing's new and very cool. Yeah, I have a feeling that it's going to lead to some situations where I get royally pissed off at disloyal vassals who separate peace in a war and give up their land. Yeah, that's going to be something that makes me quite unhappy, I'm sure. Uh, it's yeah, I hope I because they're saying disloyal vassals, so I'm hoping that that loyal vassals will literally just never separate peace out or have the option disabled, Because I don't like the idea of loyal vassals even considering the possibility of making a deal with the enemy. I want that to be something that specifically disloyal ones do. I want this to be a spectrum, where it's like disloyal vassal. Up to it, like if there's a certain amount of loyalty, they won't join the war at all. If there's a certain amount of disloyalty, they'll join the war but won't really do much. And like somewhere in there too, there's like, oh, they'll be willing to accept separate peace demands. I think this diary was in part just so that people say they're cutting DLC content, they can say no. Well, hey, that's a good one at that. Honestly, there's a lot of games, like a lot of times video games will come out these days, sequels for both Paradox and otherwise, like Civilization, where the game comes out and it's lacking DLC features from the previous game, and people will feel cheated. So the fact that CK3 launched without Republics is the only grievance I've had with CK3. That is literally the one thing that I do not like about CK3 since its launch that I've been like, no, other than the multiplayer performance being absolutely unbearable. The fact that CK3 I firmly believe should have launched with Republics, because that is a very core feature of EU or CK2. Uh, Nomads, I don't feel so bad about, but like the fact that they don't have republics in is crazy to me. Societies and diseases, no, that's not as important. I don't think so. I don't mind that as much. In fact, I don't like the societies. I liked them when they first came out, but I stopped liking them. I thought that's a lot. Most of them were pretty silly. Um, that oh my gosh, coloring your vassals by how loyal they are would be really cool. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Occupation and war exhaustion should make them more disloyal. This is also very true. I was thinking about that while yapping here, Rasak. The fact that typically if a vassal gets beaten up in war, it makes them more loyal. It's like so if you have a march on the border of your realm and they're getting absolutely thrashed, trashed, and fully occupied, they'll become more loyal than otherwise because they're super weak. But that doesn't make sense to me. If anything, them being thrashed and trashed should realistically make them decide, you know what, we're not having this. We don't like you anymore, Mr. Liege, man. You've done this to us, and we have been thrown under the bus. Okay, okay. Maybe bringing up Crusader Kings was a bad idea because now I'm mad for bringing out the fact that the Catholic Church still doesn't have mechanics, and you know what? That's a pretty egregious thing that there's no College of Cardinals mechanic this far into CK3's development cycle. It feels like we're never gonna get it, and that is completely unacceptable. So I don't know. Hmm. All right, but yeah, you get your telling subjects what to do. Vassals and appanages. I really love the appanage idea. It's really cool. Yeah, France has a lot of subjects. I love France, my beloved. Speaking of subjects, we added the feature from EU4 Art of War DLC where you can start a war using one of your subject CBs. Oh wow! Okay, okay, now I see what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a pretty fundamental thing. That's like, oh my god, that wasn't in the game. That wasn't in the game. Were you like already where you could tell you could declare a war to reconquer subjects' lands? Well, it's better late than never. I say better late than never. The game doesn't even have a release date. It's a good thing that they've added it. Yeah. Problem with appanage is that there doesn't seem to be a reason to make them. No? I thought there was one. I thought that they gave you something that was useful. I swear they gave you like legitimacy or something from having EU4 before Art of War was hell. I don't know why I liked that game. I don't know why tiny child like tiny preteen Joffrey sitting at a computer playing free weekend EU4 Conquest of Paradise, thinking it was the coolest thing ever. Where you had to siege down every single tile in France. I picked up Brittany for a free weekend and before the Art of War, and I was just like, this is so cool, man. I have no idea what's going on. I'm sieging down all of France though, so this is cool. Now it's turned into thank God we don't have to do that anymore. Oh yeah, yeah. Insta annexing your appanages if their dynasty dies out. Yeah, that's actually a useful aspect of them in my opinion. I think I would. I don't remember exactly all the things that they do, but I did forget about that feature, and that's an important one. It's an important feature that I actually like because that means that it's a situation where if you set up appanages specifically, you're going to be able to very dynamically allow your vassals to change as time goes on. So you can conquer new lands, hand it to an appanage, so you give it to some cousin of yours, and then if that cousin's branch of the family dies out, it just goes back to you, and there you go. You've got that land again. So you don't need to worry about integrating them all the time. And even if they become disloyal, theoretically, you'll just integrate them in time. Yeah. Hold on, are you not the CK3 Lord of the Rings dude? EU5 Lord of the Rings mod confirmed. I am sorry, random user. I do remember you from when I was doing more Crusader King stuff for Lord of the Rings. But over time, I have moved away from that mod more, and playing less Crusader Kings in general. I'm afraid. I am focusing more on having, I'm adapting what I've learned from my time on the Realms and Exile team, because I'm a retired developer on there for now, unless I start things up again. And I am planning to make my own. I'm planning to make my own mod in EU5. I, as a kid, back when EU4 was in the middle of its lifespan, when Anbanar came out for the first time, and it was really early in development. I've basically been playing that mod for EU4 basically ever since it came out, and like half the countries didn't have flags, and it was only Canor. Uh, I loved that mod to death, despite its early development. I just thought the concept was so cool. And ever since then, I decided I need to make my own fantasy mod for the next game that comes out. And so it's been like a decade in the making that I've been planning on making my own mod for the next game. And we world build it on my Discord server. So not so much the Lord of the Rings CK3 guy, but I show up when I can. Uh, France shouldn't realistically be able to be united for a couple centuries. I doubt it will be. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I'm sure that they'll. I don't know for sure how they'll do it, but I did, because I didn't really read through all the France dev diary stuff. But yeah. Is there a lore Bible for Anbanar? I think there's Anbanar's got a wiki, but I don't. And it's got a wiki and some Google Docs, but I'm not very skilled at navigating it. Yeah, trying to get into it for ages, but just can't because I don't know what's going on or why. Well, yeah, there is wiki stuff, but I haven't. I've done less learning about it from that, and more so I've learned about what's going on in Anbanar just by playing it with more people. So you play with people, and you read what happens in the game, and you just learn it that way. Personally, I figure it's probably better to read the lore, but that's not how I've learned it, and I feel kind of embarrassed for that. So, well, I'll watch your career with great interest. Always happy to have more fantasy mods. Yes, we'll be watching your career with great interest. uh, the mod that I'm planning to make is not it's not D&D inspired so much, because the idea is we don't want to make, yeah, me and the folks on my team don't want to make just another Anbanar, because Anbanar already does the very D&D feeling setting. So we're going out there more. Lots of making up a lot of our own races, and uh not having all that many that are from the standard D&D style world, except dwarves and elves. I think those are the only two standard D&D races we've got. None of your friends know it either, so you get killed by random stuff. Well, George, come on, just join our Discord server and chat with folks here. We play the others folks that play Anbanar semi frequently on my Discord server, so chat with some folks there, and we'll get you started. Checked appanages reduce overlord's crown power and don't join defensive wars. Okay, well, appanages are pretty sketchy then. Okay, thanks for checking, Matt. That's a rough one. If they reduce your crown power and don't join defensive wars? I mean, it's got to be offensive. It's got to be that they don't join offensive wars. Figured out the release date. What the what the Yeah, I'm sure you figured out the release date, Hot Pocket. Yeah. Good to see you too. Yeah. And yes, Anbanar doesn't have lobstermen. It does not have Lobstermen Samurai. This is where Anbanar is weaker. Indeed, they are lacking. The fools. Already on it, to be honest. I'll have to check it out. Always forget to look at Discord. Alright. My mom's birthday. I'm gonna be honest, Hot Pocket. I don't know when my mom's birthday is. I haven't spoken to her in several years. Defensive. Offensive if they click a button in the... Oh. Jeez. Okay. Generalists today, totally not hint on the release date today. I did not see that, no, but I doubt it. Yeah. I doubt that he would make such I don't know. He's a pretty cheeky dude, so maybe. But he's also the sort of cheeky where I totally believe that Generalist would exactly Rasak. I totally believe that Generalist would even more likely than he would be to actually leak something would be for him to, like, hint at a leak or him say something that implies it. Much more likely, Generalist would say something that sounds like a hint and is really just to mess with you. He was advertising his discount code for the pre-order? Hmm. Maybe there's something to it then. I don't know. Hard to say. Why can't they just give me the game, guys? Why don't they get surely the next time that Paradox is handing out codes to YouTubers to play it before the game's released, they'll give one to old Joffers, right? Surely. Yes, nothing ever happens. Yeah. I missed you guys too. I missed you guys too. I'm juggling a lot of stuff right now, and it's becoming harder to consistently make the streams and such. I certainly hope. Yeah, I've been saying that is my confident guess. I was pretty sure it was gonna. I was right when it was announced. I still think that it's gonna be November. I still think it's coming out in November this year, which is not going to happen. Like, I know it's not going to happen, but I want to still believe it's coming out in November, you know? Already know it's getting, yeah. I would love for it to be November this year, but it's not going to happen. So, yeah. But, Paradox said they would release a core game, whatever, on some company thing long ago. Oh, oh, oh. Well, that theoretically is what that would mean. Theoretically, that would mean EU5. Yeah. Curiouser and curiouser. Yes, yes. Perhaps one thing that I can do to help me be more consistent with actually, because, yeah, I have been not doing these as much as I should. I've been covering all the stuff and things. Perhaps one thing I can do is I need to remind myself what my schedule for the week is, and what I can do is properly schedule a stream in advance or two. Because, yeah, I've got some weird work schedules lined up, but I should be able to do something on Monday as well, and so on and so forth. If I schedule it in advance, it's harder for me to not do it. I really want a good medieval mod this time, like 1066. A 1066 mod for EU5. I mean, you could theoretically do something like that. It's on. Yes, I saw that the Blackfoot still aren't there. Shush, Hot Pocket, leave me alone. Um, So, yeah, the idea of a medieval mod, yeah, like 1066 or earlier. Yeah, it's something I've been debating a lot with myself and my mod team, what exactly we want to do for technology when it comes to our own mod, and what we're pretty comfortably going to do, because there were times when we were thinking, what if we just made it super medieval? But it seems that the general vibe is that we want to make the lore of the game, our own mod, be pretty lined up with EU5's proper timeline. On a 1500 and 1700 release date? I don't know if there's going to be I don't think that's going to happen, dude. I don't think that there's going to be any start dates. They've made it pretty clear they don't like them. I wouldn't mind if there was a later start date. I just don't think it's going to happen. And you know, maybe when it comes to my own mod, I should consider adding start dates to it. But at the same time, I guess with my own mod, we don't want to have canon events, so I don't know. Anyway, 1650 mod, 1650. Jeez, can't see how 500 years of gameplay would work given how it worked in EU4. Yeah, they did say that they'll provide the functionality so mods can do it. Yeah, they just don't want to. The early modern era is just more interesting than the Middle Ages. It's true, I guess. The new terrain graphics and topology logic for CK3. I had heard stuff about that's been changed, and that terrifies me because I was trying to make a map in CK3, but I haven't, and I've just ignored it since then. But like, no, screw this, screw this. Yeah, I know I know that they've changed it a bit. They've changed a lot about the way things look as well, for sure. Too much pike and shot to not actually be able to do the campaign. Yeah. Hmm. Not even a quarter of the way through the dev diary. Yeah, you're right. I do need to speed this up. I do have plans today. But, you know, this always happens. Yeah, you can bribe estates. Yeah. Interesting thing about bribing the estates is that gives them money. So I feel like giving the estates money, both to make them like you more and just for them to have more money, is interesting because they'll theoretically spend that on building stuff. So if you want to inject money into an estate so that they actually um, build more of their specific types of things, that'd be interesting. Uh, yeah, construction sectors from Vicky are in this game apparently. That's a little crazy. Um, yeah, playing tall was very limited. This is a great thing to address because in Imperator, which is another thing I need to play because I've got my own single player mega thing. The thing that really bugs me in Imperator is how when you're trying to play tall, because there's the infamous Imperator megacities, uh, the 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 problem with trying to build super tall like that is that you can only have one construction project at a time. So if someone makes a mega city, they'll just have an endless queue, just endless build queue because you can only have one thing going at a time. So one building going at a time, one population growing at a time, one population migrating at a time, one population assimilating, converting. Everything is just one pop at a time. Imperator Rome. The explanation of how they added construction sectors is literally the logic they used arguing for them. So you're saying that Lambert argued about construction sectors, how they should be in EU5, and he convinced them? Huh. Jeez. Even funnier, they joked about adding construction sectors exactly like this on their podcast, and here they are. Oh. Oh. Oh, okay. Interesting. They were joking about construction sectors, and then Paradox saw that and decided, okay, let's actually do it. Huh. That's interesting. not have expected that. But did it take because I was listening to it as you were reading? They had Johan on the podcast. Oh, okay, okay. Fair enough then. Sheesh. But another feedback. Yeah, yeah. So the construction sectors and like conscriptions and stuff. Okay. So the idea is that over time you'll unlock, yeah, every age you'll be able to, every age in like tech level and that sort of thing, you'll be able to build higher levels of construction centers, and that will just mean you can construct more things at a time in your cities. I and then also recruiting more units. This is a very good piece of logic, and it's very interesting to me as well because I one thing that I want to do, one thing I'm very keen on doing, in fact, for EU5, my own mod for EU5 is so you've got rural settlements, towns, and cities. I want to experiment with making higher tiers than city, especially when it comes to underground stuff. I want to make it so you can make humongous cities on the surface that are just skyscraper kind of things, but the biggest thing is I want it to be something that's like available much earlier on underground, so that people who are playing in subterranean parts of my map will be able to just make a single tile into a ridiculous metropolis, because you just keep digging into the wall. That's the theory at any rate. This is cool, but it's gonna also gonna make wide even better. Why? Why would this make tall even better? I get like cause the idea is you can build, um, you can only build them up to a certain level. So if yeah, you can only build a certain tier of construction center. So you can only build construction centers up to a certain level. Hmm. I feel like there should be a size above cities for the really big important cities later on when urbanism really begins to set in. That's exactly my thought. My thought is both for, so you've got in your realistic situations by the end of this game, like there's some describing certain places, like what Beijing and you know, just the biggest cities in Asia. Are the biggest cities in Asia really something you could just be like slap a label on it? That's a city and be done with it. Is that really an accurate way of describing it? You can build them in towns and cities. Therefore, more cities equals more construction sectors. But yeah, and those more construction sectors affect specifically that tile. That's the important thing to note, is that it's yeah, it affects the construction capacity in a given location. These don't have a whole lot of upkeep either. The resources you need to keep them working aren't that expensive. So wide always scales more, but this lets small nations spend more gold on buildings. Their upper limit's higher. That's a good point. Yeah, because it's also, yeah, it balances it out more. That's a good way of describing it. You also wish cities had more character. Feel like city charters should mean more. You wouldn't really need more construction centers if you have more space to build in. Yeah, that's the other thing, I guess. Like, I don't know. It depends on how much money you have. If you have ridiculous gobs of cash and you're always queuing up stuff, then you might want to have more construction centers in your cities and to build more stuff. I'll be curious to see what it's like, of course, once we see more gameplay footage, because it would be very interesting to see how it's actually affected. Yeah, just need tools, masonry, and labor. Interface stuff, yeah, they changed the UI things. I don't know. I'm not especially keen on staring at the UI stuff because the UI is ever evolving. Yeah, Yuan and Delhi are number one and two. That's no surprise. Yeah. Diplomacy UI. All right, see you later, Hot Pocket. Thanks for stopping by. Godspeed to you. Hmm. Byzantium rank 10, Castile rank 12. It's true. I don't know what to tell you, man. Byzantium's still like an actual country in this game. Isn't that weird? Byzantium's only 3 ranks behind France. That's insane. Uh, Hungary rank 22. Oh, it's a different world. It's a different world, indeed. What are the thoughts on the approach with mission trees in EU5? Big fan of them in 4, but they are super unpopular in forums. You get downvoted. Yeah. Uh. All right. All right. All right. So I personally, I think that EU4 needed the mission trees. I think that without the mission trees, EU4 was very bland and static, and you didn't really have much in the way of objectives, and you would just kind of sit around because there, like, especially on release, there wasn't even dev. You couldn't even press development buttons. So I think that EU4 really, really needed that style of mission tree. However, I think that I think that Victoria and Imperator have proven to me as well as most of my community, not all of it. There are contrarians as well as with EU5 is pretty divided over the EU5 community is pretty divided on the subject as well. But I think that EU4's missions do not belong in this game. I do not want them coming over. I made a video about it a while ago on the channel that how I don't think that I don't like the mission trees in EU4 coming over to 5, so I'm glad that they're not. I want I want the game to be focused more on the dynamism than on hyperfixating on specific objectives and click button to get dopamine. I do think that I really like, as well as what Eric's saying, the fact that in Imperator mission trees more often were because you have stuff like Invictus, which is the Invictus mod for Imperator, which turns the game more into um, uh, Imperator. Invictus turns Imperator into more like EU4 with those missions, but I don't I don't like that. I think that the initial way that missions worked in Imperator without the mods was better because they function more like just a guide. They're a guide rail where you click on them and it's like, this is a useful thing you can do. Accomplish this, conquer this region. Now, we will give you some rewards for, if you conquer this region that you are in, we'll give you bonuses for it and assist you in doing so. You do thing, we will help you with next thing. And it was all very dynamic, and if you feel like it, you can do it. Not the sort. I don't think that EU5 is a place where you should be having situations where um, if you play as like this one specific tag in the Low Countries, you'll be able to unite the you'll be able to unite the Netherlands within X number of years, and then if you conquer Britain, you'll be able to steal their unique unit that makes them super strong. So just wish we had dynamic, short goal-oriented mission trees like Imperator. They do have those in EU5. Um, they do have those in EU5, George. The checklist kind of dynamic missions. They just didn't really talk about them, and the players didn't touch on them much either. Um, but they do exist. They're just really not mentioned much. They're kind of brushed under the couch. Situations and disasters are a better way of steering players and delivering flavor. Yeah, I think I agree. I agree that that's the better way of handling it. Um, yeah, yeah. I have seen personally that they're used for tutorial like things. Yeah. Um, so yeah, Rasak, with me personally, I feel like um I'm part of the reason I'm so happy that EU5 is doing this is because there's already going to be a lot of mods. I know for a fact there's going to be a ton of mods for EU5 that want to carry on that EU4 style of missions where they'll make specific tags, have these really long mission trees that give them all sorts of modifiers and such, but that's not what I want to do. And this makes me happy because it means that my plans will still be unique and have their value because what I want to do is I want to make a mod for EU5 where the focus is not on like having a large number of these specific tags where you want to play this specific tag because if you play as them, you'll get this really long mission tree that will give you special units and tons of stacking modifiers and powerful things. What I want to do is to have a diversity of outcomes. So you can play as a ton of different countries and still feel viable. There will be some countries that have disasters at game start, the strong ones, but I don't intend to make people have a line of mission trees. You have situations and stuff that are dynamic, but I don't want it to be the mission tree style, where it's instead you have dynamic events that will show up, and you have multiple options for the way that your country goes. And so a lot of tags will have like multiple different choices in the early and mid game that define what happens to them from an RP standpoint, but not, you know, hand-holdy click button for dopamine and X reward and then see next button. I must go press next button. That kind of thing. Situations have great potential for mods, less click button and more nation interactions. Indeed, indeed. One thing that I like I want to do with the situations is make it so that a player wherever they are in the world, I won't go into it in too much detail, but like the idea is that wherever you are playing in my mod, I want you to have an effect. You want you to have to be able to have an effect on world-changing stuff. No matter who you're playing, you'll be capable of impacting some very important stuff in the world. But yeah, uh, but that is for another time. I don't have much time left. I've got to be going in a few minutes because I need to hang out with some of my buddies. Oh, I see. Actually, they're gonna let me know. I'm getting picked up. Actually, I'm being kidnapped. I guess he's coming to pick me up. Then I didn't realize. I thought I was gonna have to be jumping out in 3 minutes to walk, but I guess he's coming to grab me. Yeah. Thank you, Roy. No. I really don't want the mission trees to be coming back in DLC. I don't think it's gonna happen. I I um I think there's been a lot of copium from people who like the old mission tree system talking about the fact like, oh, um in this DLC or that one, um yeah, we'll get this mission tree back, and that it's just been taken out for now, but it'll totally come back soon. Just but I have no John's thread about mission threes. Yeah, I have seen his post. Yeah, I have seen his post. That he's said that yeah that he does not like them. He does not like he thinks that it was a mistake the way he did them before, and he just wants them to be used for at most those tutorial like guideline things, and that he's not going to be just adding them back later. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I remember reading back when he made his post. Maybe there's something newer that you're referring to, because I'm thinking of an old one he made. The one that came out a week ago? No, I haven't seen that thread then. I've been a little busy to be diving in the forums, I'm afraid. Sorry for that. Uh, if you could send it to me, I'd be, or post it here, I'd be appreciative. It's called About Flavor, so yeah. Yeah, I do really I like I like how yeah, the larger the army, the more dudes are present. So you've got progressively larger blobs of dudes using their guns. And then of course, I really just like the whole new combat system. They've taken the best things that work from various games, I'm very appreciative of that. And this whole system of the being engaged or not, like here you've got the whole, well, whose army is this? Um, I guess that's the Teutonic army. Yeah, the Teutonic army is not engaged at all. So but the Poles got engaged quickly in battle so that they're able to start dealing morale damage right away. Yo, it's the error guy. Their little error log message dude it's a platypus. That's so cool. No, come back. Don't look at my gimp. Uh, this is good. Literally, March of the Eagles proving its superiority. I don't know anything about March of the Eagles. Other than yeah, that it was the thing we were all memeing on this being March of the Eagles too. Top of the interface shows image the commanders in charge, their stats, the numbers of troops involved. Current, yeah, exactly. Beneath that, the battle is depicted with the attackers at the top, with its flag on the left. Okay, yeah. In the middle, you see wide boxes representing the reserves, which are empty. Okay, the reserves are the big box, the top, and the center and flanks fighting each other. Middle of the battlefield, there's small icons representing each unit engaged currently. Yeah. There's little boxes there. Colored in their country's map color. Well, no one from the Teutonic army is engaged yet, yeah. Oh, no, they've engaged now in this image here, yeah. Yeah, I played CK2, so I recognize the similarities there. Teutonic army. Battle continues along. You can see the retreating symbol, I guess. The Teutonic right flank collapsed, and there's 2,000 men on the Allied left flank now attacking the center. Yeah, exactly. There's 2 infantry and 1 cav from another ally that have arrived in the reserve. Okay, yeah, they're showing up in the reserve and then they're gonna get filled in somewhere. Things are looking grim for the Teutonic Order. Yeah, it's a little rough, yeah. The war overview screen. Wow. Huh. 11 attacking countries. 12. Excuse me. The combat upsets you because you can't play with it. Yeah, exactly. I know. So the biggest problem with the biggest problem with all of the Tinto talks is that it makes me not want to play EU4 anymore. It's unironically one of the biggest reasons I've been playing more Vic 3 lately because Vic 3, fucking Victoria 3 reminds me more of EU5 and it makes me be able to cope better. Yes, exactly. You're just what you're saying. You try to play, you try to play Vic 3 for economy and pops. Yeah, Vicky Three's combat is pretty haggard. It's gotten a lot better, but it's still pretty haggard. George, if you enjoy Vic 3 though, you should totally come and join the mega campaign because next Sunday is when we're starting up the Victoria 3 segment of the Triple J mega campaign. So it's been taking a very long time, but yeah, we're finally going to be starting it next week today. So yeah, if you want to hang out and join that, there's lots of countries that could either use a substitute or someone playing on a colonial nation or such thing. Because we've had a good few players that dropped out when Vicky 3 started. You have yet to not bankrupt. Oh dear. It's okay. We'll train you up, dude. We'll train you up, dude. It'll be fine. Everyone needs to learn the hard way. It's not an easy game to learn. I, it's yeah, I'd say it's a game that the initial curve of learning the game is very tough, but as soon as you get over that first hump, it's fine. You're doing economics. All right. So that buddy of mine, Rhino, that y'all saw in the stream chat, saying that he's gonna, I'm gonna be getting kidnapped. Think he really likes economics as well. So, but he just has trouble with the game's mechanics because there's a ton of mechanics other than the economy going on. There's all the politics and the different cultures, and there's education and the different acceptance of pops, and there's the laws, there's the legitimacy of your government, loyalists versus radicals, there's the resource distribution and technology, and there's the power blocks, and different countries with their set interests getting involved and stuff. It's confusing stuff. So I understand if you. Hey, there he is, exactly. Rhino mentioned. I get it, Rhino. You have trouble with the game. There's a lot of mechanics. I'll help you, though. I'll help you. We'll get you there. I wasn't helping you out so much last time because I was real tired. I was real tired and being passive. But next time we try something, you can just hang out with me when I play the game, and I'll explain what I'm doing and try and help you understand. I want to get you there, man. It's a fun game. I want to play with you. Same with you, George. Yo, sounds good. Oh my gosh, it's a date. Have to sign up if you have the time. Mr. Streamer, I don't understand anything about anything. Yes, dude, lion. Dude, lion, my favorite gay person. Also, only gay person I know. You. I will teach you the ways. Yes, you can have private lessons. Just don't let my girlfriend find out. Don't let her find out. She'll suspect things. She's not here right now. Oh my gosh. Enjoy watching. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's the end of the dev diary. The war doesn't look promising. Well, um, the UI system, yeah. Tinto flavor about Castile with Pavia? What? I don't. Burp. Burp. There was no. It was a lie. It was a lie. There was Friday? Wait, no, next week. Next week is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. Yeah, Monday, as in tomorrow, there's gonna be one for Central America feedback. Okay. And then Wednesday talking about UI. That's useful. And then Castile flavor. Okay. So something else to look at then. Yeah, I need glasses. I'm tragically blind. I'm blind. But I've got a little bit left before I'm gonna be getting kidnapped. So the eternal sadness of no EU5. It's okay, George. It's okay. It's okay. We cope together, George. Shake you violently. Yeah, all the good stuff is gone right now. No good stuff. Flavor and UI talk. So all we've got right now is like, yeah, we got like, yeah, Native American, and they even just like common content. It's like, yeah, the Iroquois, Cahokia, and the Navajo, they all have this. I don't know, man. Tribal migration law. What is a tribal migration law? Because you can't migrate. Tribal modernization. Because, okay, this is all good stuff, and I can't wait to play around with this and use it in different mechanics as well. But, tribal laws. They don't explain it! Smiley face! They don't explain it! They don't explain it! Even the schizo section of the forum isn't schizo anymore, just depressing. Aww. 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 This is sad, yeah. You see, in time, after like after all of the Tinto talk stuff is dried up, I'm gonna have to cope. Like it will move on from me coping about like not having EU5 stuff to talk about and yap about forever, and will instead move on to me like making dev diaries where I talk about the stuff that I am planning to do for my own mod once EU5 has a release date. Because once EU5 has a release date is when I'll officially announce my planned mod, and then I guess I could start talking about that to help fill in the void for me and my community even more. They locked you in a room! A rubber room! It was full of me! What? It wasn't full of rats, it was just me? Oh. Jeez. Yeah. He is the schizo part of the community then, Legende. Do you like the tribes having content? You also don't care because I have yet to play one. I'm gonna play them. I am 100% gonna play them. Even though there's no Blackfoot. Even though there's no Blackfoot, I will still play the tribes. And I will make a mod that adds the 3 different Blackfoot tribes as playable tags. I will do it. Why aren't there so many people watching, by the way? What are you all doing here? There's 27 people watching? I just spontaneously did this stream. What are you all doing here? I'm not that interesting. I'm just looking at Three Sisters Agriculture now. We're not even talking about the thing that I named the stream after. Full of bald people. Oh god. Watching you. No! No! I joke weirdly. My first game in EU4 was one of the American tribes in the Deep South. Yeah, but mine was with Brittany. Yeah, I really wanted to learn the Brittany game. Check behind you. Ooh! Yeah, but But yeah, fur output and food production, I guess. Okay. Wait a second. Slash and burn agriculture plus Three Sisters agriculture? They get they get a 20% food production boost? 20% food production boost? The Age of Renaissance is the first, like, that shows up within the first 10 years of the game. You're going to be able to get so much food. Why? Why? The New World will be wild in EU5, diseases and conquistador mechanics. Yeah, it's going to be something else. Sheesh. Federation builders, agenda impact for clergy and community, yeah, for everyone. And then in Age of colonization, you get a cultural tradition +1. Yay! You get to research the thing that you'll get just a little bit more resistance to outside influence. Hey, yay! No alt hist on release, but really hope Americans get a Sunset Invasion DLC. I don't know how that would work though. You're just gonna have to brute force it yourself. So the Haudenosaunee, I like the Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois. Oh, the Onondaga have their own culture. Each of the Iroquois cultures have their own tribes has their own culture. I shouldn't be surprised because the Blackfoot aren't even playable, and yet they made all three, the Kainai, Siksika, and Pikaini, all three cultures exist. Even though you can't play them. Very, very unforgivable, inexcusable. Yeah, yes. No Sunset Invasion, not allowed. But yeah, there's their little map. They're all crowded in here around the Great Lakes. Beautiful. I think it will honestly be a lot of fun to play things like okay. Part of the reason I want to make it clear, part of the reason that I really like the vibe of the Iroquois is the fact that it's doing like you're properly nation building. You know, it's a situation where, and a lot of what I'm gonna do in my own mod is gonna depend on how cool tribal stuff is in EU5, because if I feel and my community feels like tribal mechanics are really cool, then we're going to add a lot more tribes, because we've added a fair amount of tribes in places where they we wouldn't see them in most in EU5's vanilla. But if it's really fun, then we're just going to add a bunch more, because the fact that the EU5 gameplay is so much about like properly building a country, I feel like it could be really neat to play as a tribe early game and properly build up your realm, like literally construct it and research all those basic institutions. Yeah, in EU5 you'll have stuff to do while you wait. Yeah, I think unironically, Matt, for I'm gonna like the playing as the native tribes, because like as Cahokia, for example, you're going to be playing the one settled country that's like actually powerful in the region, because there's no other settled countries in your region. But there's lots of societies of pops, and those societies of pops will eventually settle. And you, in the meantime, have your disaster to worry about. And once your disaster is done, you've started a new golden age. You'll have all this time to just start building up a proper country and expanding it. But it's all like dynamic and actually in interesting ways. Oh shit, oh shit. Okay, my buddy's here to pick me up. And he's insisting there's no rush for me to go, but the dude is literally sitting outside waiting for me, so I guess I'm gonna go. You stare. Exactly. He's telling me. I know, Rhino, he's telling me there's no rush, but he's literally outside there waiting, so I gotta go. It's chill. No, it ain't. You're sitting out there waiting. So, yeah. A world where everyone's tribes could be fun. Yeah, I'm gonna get going, but the last thing I'll say on the subject is I'm very curious to find out more about what it's like to like play the tribal game plan, because the new world in our setting that we're making on the Triple J server it's a setting where there's a lot more stuff going on in the New World, so there's a lot of tribal powers near each other with some more urbanized powers. So the idea is theoretically there will be a lot of that interplay, and I'm curious how that will work. But there isn't the whole like lack of institutions so much. But anyway, we'll have to see. And stuff gets changed for balance reasons all the time when we're theory crafting stuff. The power of making shit up, exactly. With the power of making shit up, I'm able to make something that's more interesting. Shabam! Now, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!